Now, I'm sure you've heard the data I'm about to present. You have, right? Of course you haven't. Because the data paints a very different picture about the coronavirus threat to children than the panic merchants and hysteria merchants in the media want you to believe, because they want the schools shut down. Why? Because they don't give a damn about you, your kid, or anything. You're interested in political narratives that hurt the president. And because the president came out and said we should open up schools, the media narrative is, no, we shouldn't. I saw an interesting meme this week, and it said, if President Trump recommended that you don't do your business in your drawers, it's kind of funny that media people would walk around all weekend crapping in their drawers all day, which is absolutely true because they really are that stupid. That was a great response.
Well,
it's true, is it not? If Trump came out tomorrow and said oxygen is bad, the media would walk around with plastic bags on their heads all day. So there was a study. You may say to yourself, Joe, is there actual data about the threat to children? Shockingly, folks, there is, but you probably haven't heard about it. Here's a study they did in Iceland. This is a fascinating study because the study is very, to use the buzzword of the day, robust. Spread of SARS-CoV-2 in the Icelandic population. It's a pretty exhaustive study where they did some tracing on people. And the tracing was done in a very scientific, very strict manner to determine who gave the virus to who. Now, you'd say if the media is arguing like they always do, Trump said open up the schools, we got to shut those schools down because Trump said otherwise. We don't care what happens. You may say this Icelandic study surely backs the media up that this is a huge threat to children, right? Well, hat tip to this individual, forgive me if I'm saying his name wrong, but he covered this study and said, let's talk about the real Icelandic study and the threat to children. His name is Nuhan Nahas. If I'm saying your name wrong, forgive me. It's not intentional. I'm terrible with names. But here's his first tweet covering this study and the threat to children that the media wants you to believe should justify shutting the schools down. He said the study we just mentioned, we just showed, isolated the COVID samples from every positive case, Joe. They sequenced the genome of the virus and tracked the mutation patterns. This analysis, along with contact tracing, allowed the authors to identify definitively who passed the virus to who. This was unique. This is Numan Nahas. So we're clear on this? There was no doubt with this study who gave the coronavirus to who in this Icelandic study of children. Now, again, if you believe the media, keep the schools shut down. Trump said otherwise. You must say, surely there's evidence in this study that children are giving it to everyone, right? Not really. Let's check out tweet number 2 by Mr. Nahas. Based on this, the study, the senior author concluded, get ready for this, Joe, quote, even if children do get infected, they are less likely to transmit the disease to others than adults. We have not found, wait, before I read this sentence, authors of the study, this can't be right, Joe. We have not found a single instance of a child infecting parents? Come on.
It's got to be a mistake.
It's got to be a mistake, Joe. I don't think the guy knows what quotation marks means. That means that was in the study. Quotation marks. Clearly he's making that up, except for the fact he actually links to the study. You can read it yourself. Did you hear that in the media? Yeah, I'm just checking. Where do we hear that anywhere? No, what have we heard? Florida's melting down, should be sawed off for the United States and made a prison colony. We should put a 75-foot concertina wire wall around Florida. We saw it off, let the peninsula float out, plate tectonics type thing, because it's melting. It's burning to the ground. ICUs are overflowing everywhere in Florida. Shut the whole state down. And we've heard the kids, you can't send them back to school. This is a grave threat to the kids who will bring it back and give it to their parents. Yeah, but they actually traced the genetic mutations in this study with detailed contact tracing. They didn't find any of those. Zero. No, none. Wow. Now, you may say, come on, Dan, science, schmience. We don't actually do that stuff. I mean, the real Jay Solo knows better, not the fake Jay Solo. The real Jay Solo, clearly, the guy's 17. He's reading Teeny Bopper mag, looking at pictures of Alyssa Milano from her days in Who's the Boss or whatever. So the real Jay Solo knows better. The guy's a genius. He's going to call the sheriff on us. Sheriff, come write us a citation. He's going to send him right to the house. So clearly he knows there's got to be another study out there, Joe, showing that children are massive super spreaders, even though the Icelandic study found 0 examples of that. Well, you'd be right. There are other studies. Maybe the real Jay Solo should check these out too. Here's the third tweet in this awesome thread by Mr. Nahas saying, they did another study in Ireland on the kids too. Researchers compared infected children with infected adults. This is crazy, Joe. This is crazy because we've been told the kids it's going to be an epidemic with the kids. Quote, in the Ireland study, not the Iceland study, in this case the real Jay Solo's, but it's an R instead of a C, not the fake Jay Solo, the real Jay Solo. He says, despite identifying in this Ireland study a total of 722 contacts for the infected children. Wow, it sounds like a lot. The study found, wait, what did it find? Paul, am I reading this right? Found not a single instance of an infected child passing on the virus. Hold that. That can't be. That can't be. Is the real Jay Solo reading this? Wait, there's more in this tweet thread because this is genius. In contrast, the adults who were infected had fewer contacts, 102, and yet did pass on the infection. All right, come back to me a second and we'll go back here. So just to be clear, over 700 traced contacts in Ireland, not Iceland, R, not C. That's the Iceland study is a different study where they found 0 children who passed it on. The Ireland study studied 722 contacts. That's a large sample size. I don't know if the real Jay Solo does science, statistical analysis and stuff. Maybe the fake Jay Solo does, but that's a lot. That's a sample size. 722 contacts, they can't find a single instance of a child passing it on? I thought we did science. No, left. Science! Science! Yeah, you do science. If science means imbecility, that's the science you do. Kind of weird, Joe, how the adults had 1/7 of the contacts, 102 contacts, rather than the kids who tend to play and run around with each other in groups. Mm-hmm. And the adults did pass it on. Which, if you believe in things like science, real science, not media, science, dreaded air quotes, that should tell you that adults are the ones spreading this, not the kids. But no, let's keep them out of school. Now, surely Ireland, Iceland, you're like, there can't possibly be another study out there that shows the same thing, right? Because the media, you're not hearing this anywhere in the media that wants to keep the schools shut because Trump said to open them up. By the way, one quick thing before I get back to, I say to the Trump team, listen, I'm being a bit sarcastic, but not really. Trump should come out and say, shut the schools down forever. The media will come out tomorrow and say, open them up tomorrow. There's no risk. Look at the science. Because they're idiots. They're really that stupid. They are. I've worked with these people in my prior line of work. They are morons. I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen, it's not an isolated example. There are people like the real Jay Solo everywhere in the media. Not all of them. There are some who, it's very rare to find someone in the media who has an IQ in the triple digits. They have no evidence what they're saying about schools is true at all. You may say, surely there's not enough. You're watching on YouTube, you got to kind of see ahead. Let's put that tweet chain up again. You're like, Ireland, Iceland, no cases, kids transmitting the virus? That's crazy. Maybe they're not, because they're young and healthy, they're not developing enough viral load and shedding enough virus to actually transmit it to others. Maybe if you believe in science, you would have read that. In the Netherlands, there's another report by the Ministry of Health based on extensive contact tracing data. Here we go, Joe. This is crazy again. Also found almost no disease spread by infected patients 20 and under at all. By the way, if you read that tweet thread, and I encourage you to go to Mr. Newman Nahas's account, there's a chart table. In the interest of time for the show, because I got so much to get to, I'm really sorry. Today's really loaded. There's a chart, a bar graph for the real Jay Solo and stuff. And the bar graph has some interesting data for people 19 and under. You know, the bar graph, number of people through contact tracing they infected. And you know what the interesting part about the bar graph, Joe, is? There's no bars for people 19 and under. Now, for the real Jay Solo, I'm not sure you've ever read a bar graph before. The way this works is the reason there's no bars is because there are no people they've infected. Maybe the fake Jay Solo knew that, but not the real one. He's going to call the manager on you and definitely call the sheriff. God forbid you use like science and stuff. Sciencing. No people under 19. Folks, that would, listen, I'm not an epidemiologist or an infectious disease expert, but I believe in science and common sense. And I believe in questions. And if we're finding rates of transmission amongst people 19 and younger close to 0, maybe that would tell you something, Joe, like maybe because they're young and healthy, generally speaking, their immune systems are combating this. They're not developing enough virus in their body to infect others. I'm just asking a question. You're not a doctor. You can't ask questions. Well, I'm not a moron either, and I will ask questions. Like, just maybe that could be the case. These whole scientific phenomenon things, they beg questions if you want to open up your ears. Maybe, you know, media people, once in a while, you should take the cotton out of your ears and, like, stick it in your mouth and listen once in a while. Instead of always, you know, teeny boppers acting like they know things they really don't. Folks, that's stunning data. Think about what I just told you. 0 cases of transmission. Let's shut the schools down. Yeah, good idea.
You just heard Dan Bongino.